Coming up on the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast, Indiana looks to grow its already $10 billion hardwood industry. A Franklin tech company calls its platform Moneyball for esports. A historic Madison site will get new life. Trendiana looks at Indiana's best fast casual healthy meals. Vincennes University takes to the skies for a new training effort. And our insiders shed some light on the biggest business stories of the week. Welcome to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. I'm Andy Ober. Indiana has unveiled a new economic strategy to grow its hardwoods industry. The sector already contributes more than $10 billion to the state's economy and supports more than 70,000 jobs. Indiana State Department of Agriculture Director Bruce Kettler joined Inside Indiana Business host Gary Dick to talk about the effort.
To tee this up, and I mentioned $10 billion, a lot of people probably have no idea that the hardwoods industry is so huge in the state.
That's right. I think most folks in Indiana wouldn't recognize how large it is. Mm-hmm. It's $10 billion, about 70,000 jobs directly attributable to that, and then you start to get into other jobs that work, kind of on the sidelines. It's a huge industry for our state, one that flies under the radar very often.
And you talk about 70,000 jobs. I think it's important to note those jobs pay well above the state average.
They do. The strategy and the work that we did on this strategy found that about $66,000 is the average wage in the industry, which is about 20% higher than Indiana's average wage.
So there's a real opportunity in growing the sector. Okay, this strategic plan, you unveiled it this week. What are the goals there? How are you going to roll it out?
Yeah, so I think a couple of key things we want to work on with the strategy that we've identified. First, business development. How can we help the businesses that are here, and there are a lot of them, many of them very small businesses, how can we help them grow and expand and provide a product that they can use? And then, of course, if we need to attract new businesses into Indiana to help take care of the wood that we have here, that's what we want to do as well. Secondly is an education component. Mm-hmm. Educating people on the importance of the industry, the sustainability of the product that we have, educating people on the jobs that are available, getting young people interested in the sector and knowing that there are good jobs. We mentioned the pay, but there are good jobs in the sector as well. And then last is marketing. How do we market the industry? How do we figure out where we can add value to the timber that we have here? We're exporting logs out of the state of Indiana. My objective and part of what we want to do with the strategy, how can we add value here because that means jobs?
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to point out, too, Indiana number one in things like cabinets and those types of products. It's not just in the video we showed there, a lot of it was southern Indiana, and there's a big presence there, but this really is a statewide industry.
It really is. It surprised me as I came into my role to learn more about the hardwoods industry all over the state. And certainly when we think of the forest and timberlands, you drive through southern Indiana, you see it. But if you drive through northern Indiana and start to look at the timberland, the woods that farmers have, a lot of families have yet, there is a lot there. And so we've looked at a map, and it's all over, and northern Indiana has a really good sector as well.
What's the potential here? Because obviously there are a lot of assets, as you've pointed out, a lot of things that exist here, a lot of impact already. As you look at this strategy, and if it goes as you hope it will go, what's the potential?
Oh, I think it's tremendous potential. There's a lot of things that we found in the strategy that were surprising to me to a degree. But when we think about the potential for jobs, again, for good paying jobs, for keeping young people close to home, most of this is in very rural areas of Indiana, and we're always looking for ways to keep those folks there. So I think the potential for jobs is great. Again, adding value to our logs that we have. Mm-hmm. We have some of the best quality hardwoods in the country, and a lot of that has to do with our soils and our climate. So let's find a way, while we've got really, really good quality wood, let's find a way to make sure that we're adding value and more value to it and maybe looking at new uses. So one of the things we hope to do is to find ways that maybe there's new uses for wood that we haven't even thought of yet.
Big project, big initiative in terms of hardwoods in Indiana. Bruce Kettler is the director of the Indiana State Department of Ag. We'll be following the story. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks, Gary.
Still to come, new life for a historic Madison site and a look at Indiana's best fast, healthy meal options. But first, a Franklin company has launched a platform that its chief executive officer calls Moneyball for esports. Harina Data uses artificial intelligence to analyze data to help amateur gamers go pro. CEO Sean Smith came in studio with more.
First of all, let's talk about how you got into this. As I mentioned, you and a partner co-founded Indy PopCon.
Correct.
And it was in that experience that you found this opportunity in the esports, e-gaming arena.
Yeah, my partner, Bill Dever, a fellow Hoosier, we were working with PopCon and we saw Microsoft come in and just produce this amazing esports tournament. And me being a lifelong gamer, I saw an opportunity and I said, that's where I've got to be.
In your company, Arena Data, you've been at it for about 18 months, but just launched the platform. You're really part of an emerging esports, e-gaming ecosystem, if you will, in the state.
Absolutely. It was kind of quietly, there's been a lot of startups that have formed here in Indiana, and so we'd like to really shine a light on that. We're not the first, we're one of many, and I think that the ecosystem around esports is going to be really strong here in Central Indiana.
And Pacers Gaming, the Pacers were one of the first in the NBA. Many teams now have esports franchises and teams, and that I'm sure has had an impact on the whole atmosphere.
Certainly, it helps really shine a national spotlight. And then again, you've got companies like Challenge, which is one of the largest tournament providers, GG Circuit, which is basically an operating for esports, all based here in Indiana.
In Indiana. Okay, talk about your platform and what you're really focused on.
So ultimately what we saw that in esports, there's not really a path to pros. You think about basketball, football, you know that you start in the little leagues, you go to middle school, high school, college. That structure doesn't exist in esports. So we can build that by using data to help find and look at players and help them reach the next levels.
So again, a data-driven platform that focuses on maybe individuals who want that college scholarship, which increasingly there are those scholarship dollars out there, or ultimately maybe into the pros.
Absolutely. Right now, if you are a child that loves gaming, you have a pathway to earn college scholarship money just for playing your passion, just like if you were into basketball.
You are in an emerging arena, no doubt about it. And I know you are going to be making a trip to the NBA All-Star Game in Charlotte and to make a presentation.
Yeah, we were selected as part of the TPG Sports Group's Sports Tank event. And so it's kind of like a Shark Tank, but it's specifically aimed at new and emerging tech in sports.
What's that going to be? Who are you going to be pitching in front of?
Yeah, so a couple of the judges include the president of Under Armour, as well as Kevin Pritchard from our Indiana Pacers. And it really is going to be like a Shark Tank event, so they're going to be lobbing all kinds of questions at us.
Yeah, you are early in the game here, but this is an emerging industry. What's your expectation? What do you hope Arena Data can become?
I think that we really can become a foundation of esports. I think that we can be part of the structure that other teams, organizations, players build and find success in esports around. It's very important to look at data for really all aspects of, especially the sporting industry, and we're happy to be part of that.
Sean Smith is the CEO of Arena Data, based in Franklin. Interesting story. We'll be following that story in the weeks and months ahead. Good luck at the All-Star Game.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Later in the podcast, Trendiana spotlights fast, casual, healthy meals, and an American Heart Association effort is keeping newborns warm. But now, Riverton LLC is partnering with the city of Madison and the state to transform the historic Eagle Cotton Mill in downtown Madison into a boutique hotel and conference center. The $21 million project would breathe new life into the currently vacant site along the Ohio River. Madison Director of Community Relations Andrew Forrester joined us to detail the ambitious plans.
I think this is a really cool project. First of all, give us some of the history of the Eagle Cotton Mill, because it dates back, I think, to the 1800s. Talk about the mill and some of the cool features.
Yeah, it dates back to the 1880s, and so it actually was a cotton mill for about 50 years, and then that company left, and then it became another company in Madison, and it lasted until about the 1980s, and unfortunately after that, it closed down and it's been vacant ever since.
All right, you have big plans to transform what has been a vacant historic property into a boutique hotel and conference center. Talk about the plans, because they are very ambitious.
They are. The ambitious part is that they're looking at about a year to complete this, and the bones of the structure are great. It's a fantastic building, but it's something that our community has wanted for probably as long as it's been closed, because it sits right on the riverfront. It's one of the most notable buildings as you're coming across the river from Kentucky, and you can see it from the bridge, and we think it would be the perfect opportunity for a hotel and conference center.
And for a community like Madison in that area, manufacturing continues to be a staple, but tourism is very important too. This would seem to really play right into that tourism piece.
Precisely. Well, we have over 350,000 visitors each year to Madison, which is really large for a community our size. But the great thing about the tourism industry is that it helps support our mom and pop restaurants and businesses on Main Street to help keep that vibrant.
Key part of this too, I think, I don't think you're getting any money from this, but Madison was designated in 2017 as a stellar community, which for those who get it is a really big deal. Has that helped with momentum and really helping this project move?
Certainly. The Stellar Communities designation helped propel this project really to the top of the list as we were putting together our comprehensive plan, as we were putting together all of the community engagement that Stellar requires. That really helped our community focus on what it wanted, and this project rose to the top. And without Stellar, I don't think we'd be sitting here today talking about this project.
Final question for you to kind of speculate or look forward once this is open. What do you think this can mean for the community, especially from an economic development standpoint, what it might attract additionally down the road?
That's really a shot in the arm for Madison, not only because it's going to attract people to our community, especially being a part of the Marriott hotel chain, but also because we host a lot of different engineers. We try and bring in doctors, young professionals, and they want to stay in a place when they come to visit our community that's right on the riverfront, and it's a beautiful community.
And it is one of the most beautiful spots in Indiana, Madison, Indiana, the Eagle Cotton Mill undergoing a transformation. Andrew Forrester from the city of Madison, thanks very much. We'll be following the story.
Thank you.
All right.
Remember, you can catch Inside Indiana Business Television on stations throughout the state every weekend. Head to InsideIndianaBusiness.com to check listings. Still to come, raising awareness of the #1 killer of Americans and a new training program for a high-demand career. But first, Indiana is seeing an increase in a newer type of restaurant, falling under the healthy, fast casual umbrella. It's the subject of this month's Trendiana segment. Yelp Midwest Regional Director Brittany Smith has the rundown of some of Indiana's best offerings.
Convenience. Everybody wants convenience. Everybody's on the go, but so many times when it comes to food, that is not a healthy option.
Exactly.
This whole healthy, fast casual has become a thing.
Yeah, it's opening a door so that you can get all those vegetables, all of those nutrients on a go, support a local business, and still stick to, a little bit of a budget with the price points we have here.
Yeah, lots of options around the state, very much statewide, and you're going to give us kind of a tour around the state. And we start with Omani, right? Omani Fresh Fast Korean, that is in Carmel.
Yes, located in Carmel. This business has recently made actually the top places to eat in Hamilton County on the Yelp list. And one of the beautiful things about it is you can go in there, and maybe if you're new to Korean food, they have it really set up in a way that you can go down the line, learn about all the ingredients, build your own custom experience and meals there, as well as lean into some of the top favorite dishes like the japchae noodles, which are a sweet potato-based noodle, great for vegetarians. And then you've got classics like the bibimbap with a stone rice bowl here, sizzling, delicious.
Very good, and the smells of this food,
oh
really
my goodness,
tremendous.
Yes.
I mentioned this is statewide. We go to the northern part of the state in Elkhart, and the moringa tree.
Yes. One of the things that stands out about this location is you can take a group of people that have all different types of dietary interests. Maybe someone likes to eat meat, some don't. You can go there and find smoothies, juices, salads, the full gamut, where everybody in your party is able to try something new.
Okay, we come back down into central Indiana, an operation that has three locations in central Indiana, and that's Duo's Kitchen.
Yes. When you think about fast casual food that is healthy, Duo's was a trailblazer. When they started back in 2012, they now have a location at the Eskenazi Hospital, City Market, and near the Children's Museum. So you can find it throughout downtown. And one of the top trending items there is the Balance Bowl. They have some of the best marinated tofu. People always talk about it. If you're new to tofu, Duo's is where to try it. It is so good. Yes.
Okay, I'm very new because I've never tried it.
After
I don't know that
Gary,
I will. We'll
I will get it.
All right, we're staying in central Indiana and Indianapolis, and Ali Poke, right?
Yes,
and this is an example of some of these places getting multiple locations.
Yes, right? And poke as a whole is a very popular trend right now. This is a Hawaiian dish looking to use a lot of raw marinated fishes put on rice, build your own with lots of different vegetables that they have there. And speaking as someone who has a shellfish allergy, they are wonderful with dietary restrictions. So you can work your way down the line, learn about the ingredients, and it's great on the go and on the budget.
Okay, 30 seconds left. We've got the granola jar down in southwest Indiana in Evansville.
Yes, located in there, you're going to find line, build your own plates where you can choose 3 different salads. They're making them all in-house. The balsamic chicken salad is one that stands out in the reviews, kale salads, really getting all of those nutrients, but also some proteins for those who like meat.
Only have 15, so we've got to be quick, but people love options. And this whole concept, you can build your own, right?
Yes, a lot of these places offer a little flexibility. So maybe you want to try a new vegetable today, or you want to build something that's gluten-free. You know, Duos is a great example. They have several gluten-free options and vegan as well.
Brittany Smith from Yelp, always a great tour around the state. Thanks very much. We'll
thank
talk to you
you.
soon. All right.
Later in the podcast, a new effort targets an aviation industry job shortage, and our insiders weigh in on Indiana's top business stories. But now, the American Heart Association delivered 200 red caps to Franciscan Health Indianapolis as part of its Little Hats, Big Hearts program. It's part of an effort to raise awareness about heart disease, the #1 killer of Americans, as well as congenital heart defects. Board member Jonathan Sondheimer joined Kylie Valletta in the business of health.
This is Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week, and this condition is when the heart or blood vessels near the heart don't develop normally before birth. Causes are unknown. Just how big of an issue is this for infants?
Yeah, as you recommended, or as you said, congenital heart defect is the leading birth defect in the country, in America. Approximately, let's say, 1 in every 110 infants has a congenital heart defect. And ultimately, you know, of those that do have a congenital heart defect, 25% of them have to have immediate invasive heart surgery. So it's something that affects a lot of people, and increasingly more and more people have that issue coming to play in their lives.
So red hats are being delivered to 30 hospitals in every corner of the state this month. What is the message being delivered with those hats?
I guess a couple of messages. Number one, it would be to raise awareness for the effect of congenital heart defects. Number two, to raise awareness of heart disease, the leading cause of death in the country. And beyond that, just encouraging family. Hopefully it's a sign to those new parents and to the newborns, I guess, ultimately to say, hey, we should have more heart-healthy lifestyles. And that begins at the home, and it begins on day one, raising your newborn. So hopefully at the end of the day, that's the sign and that's the message that we're able to convey.
And volunteers really are the heart of this campaign, no pun intended. Tell us a little bit behind the scenes how the American Heart Association gets 3,000 hats to pull this off.
Yeah, we've got a great group of volunteers here in the Hoosier State. We've got over 300 individuals that are knitting and crocheting each one of the hats, which is, you know, individual and unique in its own right. And then we're working to deliver those to over 30 hospitals right now. We're at 3,000 hats being delivered to the hospitals throughout Indiana. And, you know, you talk about an increase over the past 5 years when this program started to now, going from, you know, a couple hundred hats delivered in Parkview Hospital in Fort Wayne to now having over 3,000. It's awesome to see Hoosiers kind of coming together to support this great cause.
In just a few seconds left, the American Heart Association provides millions of dollars for research each year. What is the research focused on now for congenital heart defects?
Yeah, absolutely, on two fronts. Number one, preventative care. So what can we do to identify and diagnose those congenital heart defects earlier in the pregnancy, and understanding how to treat them early on. And then number two, kind of more of a reaction. What are we going to do once that infant is born with a congenital heart defect to ensure that there are better health outcomes, and ultimately they can grow up living an absolutely normal life that isn't going to be in any way affected by that early defect in their life.
We think so much about adults with heart disease. Good reminder that babies are a part of the picture too. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Still to come, perspective on the top stories of the week from our insiders. But first, Vincennes University is partnering with Illinois-based aviation services provider AAR on a new maintenance education and training effort. The school says the Eagle Career Pathway program will provide training, job shadowing, and mentoring in the high-demand field. Vincennes University President Chuck Johnson joined us to talk about the effort.
First of all, and I touched on it there with that stat, but there is real demand from a workforce shortage standpoint in the whole aviation and aerospace business.
There is, and in the maintenance side of things, AAR, I think, will take anyone we can produce today, and so they saw the need was going to continue to grow, and with that projection from Boeing, we know that we need to increase the pipeline in some way. This is a way that we can help grow in partnership with them, the pipeline here in central Indiana, and I think they're doing it nationally as well.
And before we get into that partnership, we should mention it's not a surprise you're entering into this partnership because Vincennes has a real history and a real heritage in aviation, a major presence here in Indianapolis as well.
It is. We've been in the Indianapolis airport, for 25 years now at that Aviation Technology Center. It is something that is kind of part of our history, over 50 years in the aviation industry, and a very proud heritage that we have.
All right, let's talk about this partnership with AAR. It really gets at this maintenance issue, and these are jobs typically that pay well, pay above the average wage. Talk about this partnership and what it's all about.
So the partnership really builds on the existing relationship we've had with AAR, but it creates an extra dimension, more job shadowing, more of a chance for individuals to get mentoring in their career, more academic support. And then in addition to that, as they earn their first certification, they can go to work for AAR, take advantage of tuition reimbursement. In the meantime, they also have advantage of ability to take advantage of the next level jobs funding that helps the initial credential to be earned.
So from a cost standpoint, there's a real benefit.
Tremendous opportunity here, as well as the chance to kind of build those credentials and stack them from certification to an associate degree, even to a bachelor's degree with Purdue Polytechnic.
How about in trends in education in general, and in particular in an area like aircraft maintenance? How important is that hands-on experience that students are getting in the?
Well, it's something we can't replicate in the technology online, right? You can't teach someone to read about something or to see something and have the same experiences when they're actually doing it. And so that hands-on piece is still very critical to a lot of these technical positions. It gives you an opportunity to kind of learn in real time and get that muscle memory going a little bit too. And so it's really, really important that they get a chance using the real equipment, the real types of tools that they're going to be using, and get a sense of what they're doing.
Can you kind of look out and kind of forecast out as you look at this partnership, what you expect it to produce going forward?
Well, I think we expect it's going to increase that pipeline of critical talent, introduce people to the aviation industry, the kinds of career paths that are going to be available, and I think it will help fulfill a real need that we have in Indiana, and also help us maybe grow this industrial sector that we think is so important.
Very quickly, I know you've got a number of initiatives going on. Among them, partnerships with a number of high schools around the state. I think you said in the social media lounge, 18 different schools you're
Yeah, we have, it's called Career and Technical Early College, and it's a model where we take VU curriculum in the technical areas. We work with career centers around the state and some high schools, and we're pushing VU curriculum into the high schools where they're getting maybe a workplace credential or a good part of an associate degree completed while in high school, so they have maybe a year or less to complete that associate degree, and they have a technical skill that is in high demand.
All right, a lot of focus on workforce in the pipeline. Vincennes making a difference around the state of Indiana, and we'll be following this new aviation partnership as well. Chuck Johnson's the president of Vincennes. Thanks as always, Chuck.
Thank you, Gary.
All right.
And finally, our latest group of insiders weighs in on the top business stories in Indiana. This week's panel includes Hathaway Strategies President Ann Hathaway, Winston Terrell Group Principal Robin Winston, and Bose Public Affairs Group Principal Victor Smith.
And we start off, and Victor is a former Indiana Secretary of Commerce. This is a topic I think you know very well, but a lot of people would not know the size and just incredible impact of the hardwood industry. The state releasing a strategy, a comprehensive strategy to really try to leverage what is the $10 billion industry.
That's right. I mean, people know intuitively that we're an agricultural state, but I think people think of corn, soybeans, right? Maybe duck, even you think of it, but not, on top of mind is not forestry, and it's an incredible size of, it's a $10 billion part of the $300 billion state economy. So it's a very large piece.
And what I thought was interesting is I thought this would be really focused on the southern part of the state, and that's a big part of it. But it really is statewide. Northern Indiana has a lot, and in a lot of smaller areas, rural areas that are struggling too.
This is a statewide industry and 70,000 jobs statewide. To Victor's point, this is a big deal. It's a great ambassadorship for the state. I mean, you're talking about, Kimball and Hard Rock Maple from Tell City being able to be projected out to other parts of the country. It's good investment for our state.
We continue to be a major, obviously, manufacturing state. I think the most manufacturing intensive state in the country, and a big part of that is Cummins, the Columbus-based company, big presence in Indianapolis now as well, marking 100 years in business. So to have a global company like that here that really is a leader in so many ways in the manufacturing sector is a big deal.
It's not just manufacturing, it's also technical. They're getting ready for future investments, future decisions being made. J. Orwin Miller made such an imprint on Columbus, made such an imprint on our nation in civil rights. I mean, you have a tremendous corporate citizen.
Well, and I should mention, because you bring that up, and I think it's great example of how a company, a corporate culture can impact a community.
Oh, yeah. You could talk to Tracy Souza that runs the Heritage Fund down there. They've made an indelible impact in Columbus and the places around there.
And we're lucky to have them downtown in Indianapolis right
yes,
now.
Right. That's right.
It's really changed the footprint on our downtown.
And especially that east side.
Right, it's a $20+ billion company, so it's their contribution goes a lot more than just being a good social leader. I mean, they're such a huge company.
Healthcare, a big part of the economy as well. Big news this week: Community Health Network began receiving patients at its Eastside Hospital in Indianapolis, $175 million project. And again, the size of that project is obviously huge, but where it's located, where community began on the east side that's had its challenges, really is a big boost.
Big boost over there. Streets, contiguous streets to Beaux-Arts and Ritter and those places, all doing well. Warren Township, it's a key anchor in that side of town. But it also makes sure that people have access to quality care. It's hard to get to some of the suburban hospitals if you live in the 46218 and those zip codes that are impacted by that. So it is there, it's accessible, it makes a big difference.
Also on the health side, the IU Med School announced this week, I think this illustrates the impact of healthcare, of research that's happening in Indiana. The IU School of Medicine received a record amount of funding from the National Institutes of Health, $150 million, and that usually has a multiplier effect when it comes in to a state as well. So that's an area where government is a positive, right?
Well, we always talk about private partnerships, right? Public partnerships. So this is another one. Also, think about the creative talent that we're getting at the medical school and at IU as a result of this.
Yeah. We mentioned Cummins, and Ann, I thought you brought up a good point. The Cummins story, very positive. On the negative side, 300 jobs being cut at an old-time manufacturer in Peru, Schneider Electric, that it's said its Square D site in Peru will be leaving, going to other states, going to Mexico, and 300 people out of work.
It's devastating for the community of Purdue. I think over time that it'll be transformational with regard to what types of jobs may come to that area. I think it's a sign of the times, though. Manufacturing leaving and tech jobs coming.
As the state, talk about that, Victor, because you were very much involved in that whole.
As Ann said, I mean, it's not great news for Peru. At the same time, with a 3.6% unemployment rate, I think those jobs will be absorbed. And I think as people look at additional training to get into the advanced manufacturing jobs, I think those are absorbed. I do. Available workforce is what companies are looking for. They will find the workers because they're at such high demand.
Yep. The convention business, tourism, meeting business is obviously a multi-million-dollar business in Indiana. Good news, big news for Indianapolis this week. The National Urban League announcing that after 25 years it's coming back with its summer conference to Indianapolis, an event that is expected to have an economic impact of maybe $10 million.
That's huge.
But also bringing a very much a national entity and a national event here, and the spotlight may be getting presidential candidates.
Absolutely.
So the impact goes beyond the dollars.
It goes beyond the number of people attending, the opportunity to show off our city, the speakers that will come. These are the kind of conventions we want to continue to bring here. And credit to the folks who just continue to recruit and bring these conventions here.
We should adopt the slogan that Atlanta had, which was the city too busy to hate. And a perfect example is bringing the Urban League here. This is an entity that really works on issues of concern to the African American community. Having them here will be great. All the more impetus for us to pass something that would make a difference on hate, and all the more impetus to have people come in here. Ann was teasing me earlier about the number of candidates on our side of the aisle. If there's 20, you may
see. It could fill a hotel.
It'd be great for visiting, but you may see 18 or 20 of them here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're talking about, again, the National Urban League and the types of issues and policies that will be discussed and that will be in the spotlight. right here in Indianapolis.
Well, they're going to talk about economic empowerment, which is crucial, and that's always been their bellwether. But they're also going to talk about how we're merging technology to expand educational opportunities. And I think you have former Mayor Morial as the president, former mayor of New Orleans. I think that'll be great for our city and to help put us on the map once again.
In the education realm, a story that certainly was reported this week, but I don't think got enough attention, and that's at Marion University. Dan Elsner, the president there, got an extension through 2025 on his contract. He has done an amazing job at really transforming that school on so many levels.
You know, I think they just signed him up for another 5 years, which is great. I think they're 2 years into a 10-year plan. And let's just be honest. I mean, the transformation that's gone on at Marion University under his watch is just incredible. Go Knights!
Yeah.
Well, Dan's been a leader in education for a long time, and he is diligent, works hard, and is really truly making a difference. He spent a number of years in K through 12 and now higher education, and we're lucky to have him in this community and keeping him here.
Yeah. I remember when they started football, people made fun
Yes,
of it.
they did.
Yes.
Right. He talked about it on this show years ago.
People made fun of it and said it would bring down the status of the school and all that, but that didn't happen. And they won national championships.
Yes.
So they've expanded to a different demographic of student going to that school, which is good for our community.
Yeah, also should do a quick mention that Suresh Garamella at Purdue, who really was executive vice president for research and partnerships, 4 straight years of record numbers of research dollars at the university.
Huge loss. You know, when I served at the IEDC, I mean, Suresh was a tremendous ambassador, always there. Always on point, articulate, great ambassador for Purdue, and we're going to miss him.
Yep, be going to the University of Vermont. Of Vermont. So we'll see how that plays out. And a final topic, on a sad note, Alice Dye, the First Lady of Gulf Architecture, passed away about a week ago or so. And Pete and Alice Dye, iconic names in the golf world, legends in the golf world, with that big Hoosier connection.
Pete and Alice Dye were partners from the beginning, and over 150 golf courses, international recognition, and at the end of the day, they're just Hoosiers.
Yeah, and there's great video of them at the Children's Museum we're watching right now as they christened that golf hole that's part of the big sports legends complex here. I'll give you the final word.
Well, great statue of them at Crooked Stick. I mean, bringing golf tournaments in here. Tremendous work at French Lick. I mean, just iconic.
Yeah, very good. Well, with that, we'll put a wrap on another edition of The Insiders. Anne Hathaway, Robin Winston, Vic Smith, thanks very much.
That wraps up this week's Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. Remember, you can find all of this week's TV segments, as well as the top business news from throughout the state at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. While you're there, you can also subscribe to our platform of free e-newsletters. This is Andy Ober for Inside Indiana Business.